So let's dive into a real masterpiece today, Goethe's Iphigenia in Taurus. Now, if you think this is just some dusty retelling of an old Greek myth, think again. Goethe took a classic story packed with gods, curses, and bloody vengeance, and he completely flipped it on its head. He turned it into this incredible exploration of what it means to be human. Really, a story about how one person's moral courage can overcome the darkest of fates.
And to really get what he did, you have to feel the difference. The original Greek myths, they're filled with what he called raw, shuddering passions. It's all about these endless cycles of revenge and the idea that your destiny is totally out of your hands. But Goethe, he was aiming for something so much higher. His vision was all about inner purification, about moral beauty, and, this is the big one, about human choice winning out over barbaric compulsion.
And the secret sauce to his whole vision is this one powerful German concept, humanitate. You can think of it as humane enlightenment. It's his whole philosophy that's built on compassion, on real moral strength, and on the idea that you can actively cultivate your soul to be better. And believe me, this isn't just a background theme in the play, it is the engine that drives every single thing that happened.
Okay, so how does he bring this big idea to life? Well, this is what's so brilliant. He doesn't just give us characters, he gives us allegories. He puts three figures on stage, who are these powerful symbols for different states of the human soul.
And at the absolute center, you have Iphigenia. Goethe himself calls her eine schöne Seele, the beautiful soul. And she is so much more than just a captive priestess. She is a redeeming force. Her very presence on this barbaric island is a beacon of that humanitate, a living, breathing example of a soul that has risen above its own terrible past through sheer inner goodness.
And her influence is just immediate. Think about it. She's stranded in this savage land of Taurus, a place where they have a custom of sacrificing any stranger who lands on their shores. But by the time the play even starts, she's already convinced the king to stop this barbaric practice. And she did it just with her gentle wisdom and her intellect. She is this amazing civilizing force, proving that compassion can be way more powerful than a sword.
Then her brother Orestes shows up, and he is the total opposite. He represents the modern, fragmented soul. This is a man who is utterly haunted by his past, literally chased by the furies of his own guilty conscience. His problem isn't just some external curse from the gods, it's the inner chaos of a soul that can't find peace. And the stage for all of this drama is the land of Taurus, ruled by King Thoas. But Taurus isn't just a place on a map. Goethe uses it as an allegory for a barren soulscape. And the king, Thoas, he embodies that rigid old-school power. He's not really evil, but he represents a world that operates on cold duty, a world that hasn't yet been touched by the light of humanitate.
So, of course, the arrival of Orestes just throws everything into chaos, and this creates the philosophical heart of the entire play. Iphigenia is suddenly faced with this massive choice that will define everything. Will she stick to her principles, or will she stoop to the level of the world around her just to survive?
A plan gets cooked up pretty fast to save her and her brother. And it's a classic escape plot, right? Lie to the king, steal a sacred statue, and make a run for it. This sets up the central question. Is it okay to use these barbarian methods, like lying and stealing, to escape a barbaric place? But Iphigenia? She flat out refuses. For her, a life that you save by being dishonest, by compromising your soul, well, that's just not a life worth living. And you have to understand how radical this was. The old myths are full of heroes celebrated for their clever tricks. But Iphigenia basically says, no, how do you do things matters. So what does she do? She makes the riskiest choice imaginable. She decides to go to King Thoas and tell him the absolute unvarnished truth about who she is, who her brother is, and their plan to leave. It's this moment of pure, vulnerable honesty, and it's the ultimate expression of humanitate. It's the triumph of truth over just trying to survive. And this is where we see the real power of her decision. It doesn't just affect her. Her choice sets off this incredible chain reaction, this cascade of healing that touches every single person in the play. Her truth becomes a catalyst. When her brother Orestes sees her moral courage, he's healed from the inside out. His mind finally finds peace, and those furies that were tormenting him, they just disappear. Her honesty also forces King Thoas to look in the mirror, and it awakens his own ability to feel compassion. In the end, all of them are freed from the curses of the past. And this highlights a really crucial difference. In the original myth, Orestes gets healed by doing something external, stealing a magic statue. But in Goethe's version, the healing is totally internal. It's not about some magical object. It's about Orestes finding inner peace through his sister's love and her moral example. It's a psychological cure, not a magical one.
And get this, even King Thoas is saved. By choosing compassion and letting them go, he frees himself from his own kingdom's inhuman rituals. He breaks the cycle. So Iphigenia's beautiful soul doesn't just save her family, it ends up saving her captor too.
So, what's the ultimate lesson here? What does this all add up to? Well, it's this incredibly powerful statement about breaking the chains of fate and the amazing power of the individual.
Iphigenia wins not because she's stronger or smarter in the usual way, but because she fundamentally refuses to let her barbaric environment dictate how she acts. She doesn't sink to its level. Instead, she's like a mirror, reflecting the best parts of humanity back at everyone she meets, forcing them to see it in themselves.
And that brings us right to the core thesis of the play, that with these virtues, compassion, honesty, moral strength, a single person has the power to wash away the sins of the past and build a totally new future. It's just this incredible argument for our own agency against what seems like an absolute fate.
Which leaves us all with a pretty powerful question, doesn't it? Can one person's integrity really reshape their world? Goethe clearly believed the answer was a resounding yes. His play argues that the integrity of just one beautiful soul can in fact change everything, and that's a thought worth pondering long after the curtain falls.